KLB.
What up, world? It's your boy Chuck Wick Ill, aka Charles Brown, back again with another review. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified on upcoming episodes. All right, man. The Teacha KRS-One, man. What can I say, man? I've been a lifelong fan of KRS-One. Let me just start there. I done told the story many times. I used to dream of wearing the BDP jacket, Boogie Down Production jacket. I used to think I was part of BDP. I was devastated when Scholar Rock was reportedly killed. And I didn't know where the group was going when they came back with the classic seminal changing of hip hop record by any means necessary, right? I had made a declaration in my younger years that I would always buy KRS-One albums for the rest of my life. I would always be a fan, a follower of the teacher KRS-One. With that being said, I'm going to review this album because this hurt, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. This hurt. I watched a couple reviews from a couple people, and I also read a couple reviews, and people are being really nice about this album, right? They're being really nice, and I think a lot of people really got a lot of, as do I, have a lot of respect for KRS-One, right? And the simple fact of the matter is he's beyond reproach for what he's done in this business, in this game of hip hop that we love and we cherish, right? And KRS-One is always in my top. You tell me top 5 off the top, I'm going to be like KRS-One, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Jay-Z, and Nas, right? I'm going to say that every single time. Well, it changed a little bit, but KRS never leaves that top 5. At the end of the day, no matter if I took out Big Daddy Kane, put Kendrick in, or took out this guy, put J. Cole in, or if you tell me my top 10, I'm gonna put Scarface in there. I'm gonna put Ice Cube in there, LL Cool J. So but KRS always gonna be the number 1 and 2, right? It's gonna be him and Rakim, and you can interchange those however, based on what he's done in the past, right? And I say all that to say, this ain't it, Chief, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is my thing, right? I normally do album reviews. I'll go song for song, right? I'll tell you each song sonically, what it sound like, this, that, and the third, and I'll describe it. I'll describe the context, the textures. I'm not going to do that with this one because I'm going to tell you why. I want to talk about the entity that is KRS-One right now and the whole the aura that I'm seeing right now from KRS-One. KRS-One is like what, 55, right? 55, 57, something like 57 years old, right? And he ain't that much older than me. I'm 51. So it's not like I'm some kid trying to process what's going on, right? But I was there too in that era when you had to spit it, you had to write your own raps to a degree, because a lot of people had their raps written for him. Kid and Play. Kid wrote all the raps for Play. Eazy-E, all his rhymes was written by Ice Cube. So for the most part, you had to write your own verses to be taken seriously, right? We can all agree on that. And you had to have a certain level of boom bap-ism to be considered one of the great MCs. And you had to have a certain level of confidence and arrogance to a degree. And you had to have a certain level of skill and fearlessness. All of that combined, right? You had to have an edge. You couldn't be afraid to walk into certain venues. You had to have a crew, a posse. You had to have a mob like rolling with you. All of this stuff was part of the aura of BDP and KRS. These guys was from the Bronx. They rode deep, and they was going to mash you out on sight if there was a problem. And KRS-One was at the front of this posse. Wasn't scared to go nowhere. I've never heard of KRS-One getting beat down, jumped, nothing ever, right? And all that stems into a respect factor, right? So once we understand KRS-One's respect and why it's still to what it is to this day, we understand why we keep putting him in the top 10. Now, with that being said, you can only live off that for so long, right? And there are certain reasons why you start to lose it, right? Some people in rap, let's say, I know this is a little unfair, but let's say, because there's only really a few people that have surpassed that era and still can be viable right now in 2022, and Jay-Z is one of them. I know it's not a fair comparison because they're not the same, but end of the day, Jay-Z was rapping around the same exact time as KRS-One, right? Jay-Z just got on that verse with Pusha T, and the internet shut down, was like, oh, did you hear Neck and Wrist with Jay-Z, right? Then you're going to say, well, he's whatever, he's rapping about drug raps, coke raps, whatever. Well, KRS-One used to rap about that too, right? In my opinion, he's the one started a lot of people rapping about drugs and guns, right? If you don't know your history, why da da dang, why da 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 dang, listen to my 9mm go bang, right? KRS-One was considered one of the best rappers in the world based on his raps about cocaine and guns. It's a fact, right? Go back and look at Boogie Down Productions, first Criminal Minded. Listen to the title, Criminal Minded, right? He had a gun on the cover. So you have to miss me with all that. Like, this was KRS-One. This was Kenny. This was Chris, bro. Kenny Parker's brother. This was the guy, bro. Like, listen what I'm telling you. This guy was like, I licked him down with my 9mm, like all that. This guy was telling you whole drug stories of getting out of one jam into another jam and getting out of it with the 9mm, busting it down. So miss me with all that Teacha stuff, and I want to talk about the Teacha stuff. But end of the day, as we grew, as hip hop grew, and as KRS-One, even on that album, he taught, right? He was saying he was a teacher from the very first album, but he wasn't no punk, he wasn't no sucker, he wasn't talking about a whole lot of soft stuff. He even says on that album, when you walk down the street and get jumped, it's right because you rhyme like a soft punk, right? You rhyme like a soft punk, you walk down the street, get jumped. It wasn't no sucker stuff. So let's be clear. KRS was what Jay-Z is, right? So let's start there. Now, my whole thing with this album and the new KRS that I think I'm going to have to start calling it. I'm never going to take him out of my top 5, but the new KRS is not the old KRS. At the same, in a way though, it is. But the difference between the new KRS and the old KRS knew when it was time to get raw, right? And he just got raw, and he was ahead of everything. He was ahead of the times. He was very, very, talking about Nikes and all. This guy was very, very nasty. He was in the streets. He had a foot in the street, and he wasn't talking down to the streets, right? He was like, I am the streets, right? This album sound like I'm in a math class. It sound like the professor is 20 years older than me, and the entire time I'm being told what I don't know and how I should do this and how I should do that. And listen, bro, we love KRS for his rhymes that spoke to us. They wasn't over our head. They wasn't above us. He wasn't always talking down to some students, right? We're grown men. Everybody listening to KRS-One is late 30s, 40s, 50s. I get it that you're the teacher. What are you teaching grown men at this point? Like, this is what I'm saying. I don't want to be lectured to. I'm just keeping it 100. I don't want to hear that too long. Every song, bro. We get it. Back in the 80s, black entertainment, like edutainment and all this. You must learn. It was amazing. It was great, right? It was awesome, right? And I get it. Somebody got to teach, but somebody got to entertain. How many lectures have you sat through that just entertained you and had you like, oh my God, tell me more? How many straight up freaking theses have you read that had you riveted, right? How many times have you sought out your professor for extra work, extra credit, and you just loved every minute? This sounds like I'm in class somewhere, waiting for the bell to ring. It's nonstop. Rap is this, hip hop is that. You need to know this, you need to know that. Like, yo, listen, bro. Listen, we're not kids no more. And I doubt that any kids is listening to this. I truly do. Unless they pops is forcing it on them. And it's probably the longest, like, oh my God, the longest ride, 49 minutes ever. And what I want to say is this. I love KRS-One, and I love what he does for this culture. And on this thing, he gets busy. He has a couple double entendres and metaphors. And some of the slick lines, some of the lines are slick, like, oh, that was a nice bar, right? I get that. And I'm not trying to disrespect KRS-One, but I think, right? And again, I'm telling you, I used to want the BDP jacket. I used to want to wear the hat. I idolized this guy. I idolized this guy. You understand what I'm telling you? I was his biggest fan. There was no bigger fan than me. I sought out the B-side stuff. I sought out everything. I wanted everything. I knew his stuff word for word, all his stuff for years. So what I'm telling you, this ain't from some random dude that don't know what he's talking about. It sounds like I'm in science class with the science teacher. It does not sound like hip hop. I don't need to be repetitively told what boom bap is, right? You ain't got to keep telling me about the graffiti and the breaking. We know that. There ain't that many kids going to be schooled by this, right? And let's just move on to the beats, right? This is my thing. Some of these beats are crazy. And I like Sun One on here. I like Sun One, right? Sun One, the two features, he's nice. KRS is nice. But I went to look for the credits, and it says Lawrence Parker. So I don't know if KRS is doing all the beats on here. I don't know, right? Maybe if I search a little deeper, I can find out. But I don't know if he's doing all the beats on here. But some of these beats are cartoonish. Some of these beats are disrespectful. And I want to say, if you're going to be teaching me about hip hop and all this, and you got to do this and do that and do this and the P's and Q's, dot your I's, da da da. Oh, right, this da da. If you're going to be teaching me hip hop, do it over some good beats. I'm just keeping it a buck. Hip hop has surpassed this. This is stuff that a first time beat maker does. A lot of these beats on here are awful, right? Some of these beats are okay, and some of them knock, right? Yeah, I give you. Some of these songs like, okay, that knock. Some of these beats sound like somebody that just found Fruity Loops. And they just started making, they're not even mixed right. It's just like they straight through, they're not even processed right. It is almost unbearable. I would expect some of this stuff from somebody that has zero budget. They're in their basement making beats on the computer. And I watched one of these reviewers saying that he may not see people try to make excuses, right? He's like, oh, KRS-One maybe doesn't. He's an independent artist, so he may not have the actual access to these beat makers, or he may not have. Basically, insinuating that he didn't have the money to pay these beat makers, right? And I'm sitting there like, KRS-One? Did you just try to say KRS-One can't or won't reach out to beat makers because he can't afford it? This the excuse you're making? Dog, this dude could line up every producer in the business and get a free beat from every single one of them, just off respect. That's a fact. I can't think of one producer you can name right now worthy of working with that wouldn't do these beats for free. Static Selector, Hit Boy, all of them. They would throw him a bag of beats. If he was like, I'm making this album, this is going to be my last album, and I'm going to change the entire game of rap, I want a beat from everybody. Primo, everybody. He would have a beat from everybody in the game. Havoc, everybody, bruh. So miss me with I think, this is what I want to say, what I think. I think KRS is in a shell, a bubble of his own making. That's why this stuff sounds so dated and so old school. The hooks are, I don't even know the word. I don't even want, without being disrespectful, some of these hooks are like the very first thing that came into this man's head. It's absolutely wet it up, knock 'em out, can you dance, raw hip hop, drop another break, nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what? And I get it. This is what I'm saying. I get it. It's like, again, I'm trying to do this without disrespecting KRS-One. Right? And I know somebody out there's going to get mad, but get mad. I don't care. This is my thing. If nobody's going to speak the truth, then what do we have? Right? You cannot be a gatekeeper of hip hop if you're living 30 years in the past, production wise and lyric wise. You cannot gatekeep this anymore. This is when the moment comes where somebody should step off, right? Out of the business. And what I want to say is, if you can't do better than this, it's time. It's time to call it, right? You have no features on here, right? You're in a bubble. It's just you and someone who I said is good, but I'm saying, bro, it's people out here that can help with these hooks. It's people out here that can help with these beats. It's people out here that can help the direction of this album, but he doesn't take, it seems like it takes zero direction from anyone, right? Which is, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you're going to take no direction for anyone, you're going to take no advice, you're going to do this on a level where I don't care what nobody says, then this is where you get. And this is where you get. A lot of these outlets and sites are not saying this is a great album. I haven't seen one say this was a great album. Not even one. I've seen some guys scared to say that it wasn't a great album and saying, oh, it's 3.5 and this and that. But I ain't seen nobody saying this is a good album. I've seen the word disappointing. I've seen the word underwhelmed, but I ain't seen nobody say this album is great. And there's some points where he shines lyrically. His lyrics are on some of these songs. His lyrics are on point. I get it, he's 57, but that's not, we don't make no excuses. You step in the ring, you stepping in the ring, buddy. Ain't no excuses. And he does go off, but it's at the end of the day, right? I think KRS is reaching a point where we've seen and heard everything, the best of KRS. Because if you're at a point where you're regurgitating the same teachings and thoughts and lessons you've taught for over 20 years, at this point, you're like you're an institution. You're a place where people go to hear the same message, right? The same class. This is biology class for somebody. They got to take that as a semester of that to graduate. Like at some point, you're not even bringing nothing new at this point. You're just telling people what you think they're supposed to know. Like you can put these same lyrics and throw them back 20 years ago and it'll be the same stuff back then. Right? It's certain things that have to elevate and age. And I don't think that these lyrics are aging. There's very few references in here about something going on right now. I don't think there was one story rap, right? Which this guy is the king of telling stories. Imagine 13 and Good and Love's Gonna Get You. These amazing songs, right? What's on here comparable to that? What song on here is comparable to anything off of By Any Means Necessary or Criminal Minded or the Blueprint? Like any of these, what's on here comparable to that? Not a regurgitation, because I see a couple things on here that tried to feel like when he did Beef and a couple things tried to feel like that, but it's nothing really creative, right? This guy made Beef, a whole song about beef. What a relief. When will this poisonous product cease? Where is the songs like, where is that song? Right? Where's that amazing song where you heard and you realized this is something extremely, like when you first heard Rewind from Nas, when this guy put the bullet back in the gun and went backwards from the beginning, from the end of the song, he started at the end and rhymed it backwards. You were like, that's dope. Right? You were like, there it is. This is what hip hop is. At this point, it seems like KRS is uninspired, in my opinion. Now, if you're a good MC, somebody can say, I need a verse. You can write the verse right there, spit it, boom. You can do that all day, every single day of your life. Any MC can do that all day. I can do that. Anybody that rapped for this many years can regurgitate. They can write. They can count. They can call in their memory and just start writing. And by the time you give them 30 minutes, they got 16. They got 24 bars. Whatever you need, they can do that. Right? But it don't take inspiration to do that. If you're really just a smart person and nice at what you do, you can do that all day. Right? That's easy. The hard part is being creative with that song. That's when it gets difficult. That's when it gets hard. This sounds like a guy that's super comfortable being in the same lane that he's been in for the last 20 years. There's nothing on here challenging creative. You don't even hear other people's voices. You just hear his voice. You got the Slick Rick sample, right? You got not a sample. He got Slick Rick to re-say that. Knock him out the box, Chris. You got his voice. You got Son One, and you got his wife, G. Simone, right? It ain't a lot of other voices on here. It ain't a lot of other stuff going on. So it's like, now what that means? That means is he's in a bubble. All the thoughts are his. All the ideas are his. All the beats are his, right? When I went to look at the credits on Tidal, I didn't see no other beat makers. It just said composer, Lawrence Parker. I didn't see no one else. So maybe he's getting beat. Well, he did say DJ Static gave him a beat, but I don't know where these beats are coming from, right? And I know he works with a lot of overseas producers, a lot of people out of, Europe and things like that. He works with them, and they throw him beats and blah, blah, blah. But that's people trying to come up, right? My last video, I went off because he have the last album, not the one before this one. I can't remember the name of the album right now, but he only had it on like Bandcamp. He had it on Bandcamp. That's all you couldn't find the album nowhere else but Bandcamp. And I went off and I was like, this is why old rappers need to retire, because they do stuff like put the album in one location where fans that don't know that not going to be able to find it. And here we are. Somebody must have listened to me, because now this album is on every platform. Right? Somebody must have listened to me. Because before it was like you couldn't find KRS-One albums unless you went to KRS-One.com and went to the Bandcamp site, and you couldn't even play it nowhere. You had to play it there. You had to play it on the website. Or buy the CD, the autographed CD or whatever, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Buy the CD. But what I'm saying is, you're missing out on a whole new world of if you're teaching and you're trying to reach all these people. Young kids don't do that. They're not going to some random site. Just like, who is it? Black Star about to release theirs all on, what is the Luminous podcast app or whatever. They putting their whole new album on that. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. I think it sounds good in theory. Yeah, we're going to control the narrative and put everything in one spot, and we're going to detach ourselves from the streaming services. Let's see how long that lasts. Right? Let's see how long. A lot of people say a lot of things. Let's see if in a year that Black Star album is not on all platforms. Let's see. We will see. We'll see together. Because I think it's a mistake. Right now, you're bucking the machine, but the machine going to win, right? Everybody got a better machine. Everybody got a better way to do stuff. But at the end of the day, you're not going to make your money off them sales. So why not have that album everywhere so then you can tour and make your money? It's going to be mad people that don't know that Black Star album is out. That don't go on Luminescence, whatever the app is. They don't know. They never heard of the app. Mad people going to not know what's going on. Right? And here we are with this KRS-One album. He takes this. I wish the album that I reviewed before this was leaps and bounds better than this. That's the album you should have put on all streaming services. Not this. I'm an MC. I'm sorry. I'm an MC RU12, right? I think that would have been a dope ass title, probably in 1988, even maybe even 1998, maybe. Right now, that's garbage, and it's all antiquated to me. And I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know no other way but to keep it 100 with you. I don't know any other way. Now, some people gonna be like, nah, it's dope. It's the Teacha. You know what you're talking about. KRS-One forever. I agree with you. KRS-One forever. I hope he's rapping forever. I hope he's doing this thing forever. I hope he's on top of the game forever in his mind, in his game, right? But in the real world, right? Not the Matrix, not the world where Neo is trying to figure out what's going on. Not Matrix 4. No, not that world. I'm talking about in the real world, right? We judge hip hop harsh. And I know people that have heard this and like, get this out of here, right? I know a lot of people that come on YouTube and they want their channels to grow and they're scared to speak on blah, blah, blah. That's not me, bro. I'm going to say what I have to say. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to speak my opinion. And I am sorely disappointed. I struggled to get through this. And then my man KRS, right? And there's some, I'm telling you, there's some shining moments of you can see that it's like possibly, oh, that's a great song. Oh, that line, this verse was great. Like there are moments of shining moments. Let me be honest with you. Some beautiful moments in here was dope. But it's so convoluted with this overly preachy like tone. It's like my granddad is talking to me. It's like, yo, I don't want to play that over and over. I don't want to hear you telling me what I don't know, how I'm doing it wrong, or you ain't good enough to be. I don't want to hear that over and over, bro. There's so much going on in this world. There's so much to talk about. To keep nonstop talking about rap in and of itself, right? Just rap in and of reminding us about breakers and who forgot about breakers and graffiti writers? They still doing that to this day. So it's so much more to talk about. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's so much more. And as a matter of fact, think about a grown man right now. What are you watching as a grown man for entertainment, right? Are you watching a lot of infomercials and informative things? Or are you watching like Snowfall and shows about gritty action? And no one wants to be preached to death. That's why we like Benny the Butcher right now. That's why we like Conway. That's why we like Pusha T, right? That's why we like Kendrick. That's like why we like J. Cole. They spit in bars unapologetic. They're not trying to teach you nothing, but that they nasty on the mic. And they talking real world stuff. Nobody wants to be preached to over and over and over about the same stuff. Over and over and over. Like, yo, bro, what I'm saying is this, right? KRS-One is not going to change. I get that. And he shouldn't change. Shouldn't change just to change. He shouldn't change just to change. It makes no sense. But as an MC, which he keeps claiming to be, which he is, told you he's top five for all time, right? As an MC, you do have to grow. You see he rapped on like a trap beat on here. So it means he understands the concept, right? Of growth. He understands you gotta adapt and change with this whole thing. No matter how nice you are, you have to adapt and evolve. Right? He raps on a trap beat. I'm not on what part of this am I making? You let me know when I'm lying. Right? So if you're gonna understand the concept of rapping on a trap beat, then the rest of it must make sense that you need to evolve in other ways with this. To be a viable rapper. Yeah, you can milk your fans and keep putting out albums over and over, put these regurgitated albums that's saying the same thing over and over, and they're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy it overseas. That is uninspired. It has no real underlying purpose. Like you didn't get inspired and be like, I need to. The inspiration cannot be, I'm going to teach y'all about rap every single out. That cannot be the inspiration. It cannot be the inspiration that I'm going to teach you about rap every single time you do a song. That is a horrible inspiration. Because it's boring and it's tired and we're too old for that. You're not teaching us nothing. Just talk to us, bro. Tell us about your real life. What's going on in your real life? You're not an MC every day. The hip hop. I wake up with the hip hop. Go to sleep to hip hop. Like, come on, bro. Like, be real, bro. You got a whole thing. I just found out they got a son. I just found out. Probably last month that he has a son, a grown son. How many records you heard about this grown son? Have you heard of this guy? I think he's about to go to college or something. Like, I didn't even know he had a son. Drake raps about his own son right now. And that kid is like 1 or 2. I need more realism. As grown men, we all know realism is not rapping all the time. You can't keep talking to us about rapping. It's so much real stuff going on in this world. You can't keep hitting me over the head with the lectures about rap. Right? And the ultra blackness, and then it's all the same. It's all your freaking biology teacher. The flows, everything. It sounds like I'm listening to old man rap. And I never thought I would ever see this. 50 years down the line, you could start this. Because we'll be the old school artists. Even in that time, I'll say a rhyme. Like, I expect to see KRS at 60, still rapping, right? Still vocals, still got a great voice and all that. He could speak and all that. But is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to listen to this style of rapping with these type of beats? We're putting KRS-One in the top 5 because of what he did damn near 30 years ago. Nothing in the last, man, I can't even tell you, 15 years is even viable to maintain that number 1 spot. But he keeps it, in my opinion, because of what he did that was so raw, right? You tell me when I'm bugging. I feel like we are witnessing a player this is what it looks like when you're over your prime. You can still shoot, still hit a couple threes. You can still go to the free throw line. You look amazing in your shorts and everything. You know, you got the best shoes on or whatever. But something just not exciting about it. Right? It's just not exciting to see an old guy warming up and he's just, he can get in his positions and he knows where to be on the court, but it's just boring. It's boring. It's like a guy still trying to play Georgetown Hoya ball from the 80s. He's still in that. He's trying to do these old pick and roll plays, just trying to do old stuff. And we have surpassed, even the older ones that's exact age as him, have surpassed what he's trying to put out. Even the old people that's supposed to want that stuff he's selling you don't want it. I listened to this out of respect. I finished it out of respect. And like I said, there are a couple good, there's about 5, 6 good records on here. But the ones when they're not good are so not good. And the hooks are so, like, they're just so basic. Everything is just, you're not going to tell me, I don't care who you are, you're not going to tell me this is good quality work. I'm not hearing that from anybody. You're not telling me that. This is mediocre. This is mediocre from a guy who's a legend. This is mediocre. I think the average MC right now could be KRS. If KRS did, I'm not talking about old music. I'm talking about a guy that's good right now, goes up against KRS music right now. It's a slaughter. It is a slaughter. It ain't even funny. Don't tell me about stuff from the 80s, late 90s. We ain't talk about none of that. We talking about the last 5 years. Right? I'll make it even sweeter. The last 10 years of J. Cole's music versus the last 10 years of KRS-One music. Who got that? The last 10 years of Kendrick's music versus the last 10 years of KRS-One music. Are we done here? What I'm saying is it does not match up. It's not enough time and effort into it. It's not enough creativity into it. And it's like it's digressing. The musical prowess, the beat making is lost. It's like somebody learning beats in the 90s. I'm not going to beat this up too much more. I'm going to say this is a mediocre album that deserves a mediocre grade, and I'm going to give it a C. Right? And I'll bump it to a C plus because it's KRS-One out of respect and love. But end of the day, I am not about to sit here and say this is by any means. I gave the last album I reviewed an A plus and some other stuff. That's the difference. I'm not about to sit here and tell you that the 24th studio album is something to be proud of. I don't think it is. I think KRS is going through the motions. I think he's just floating along. He's coasting along, and he's just, oh, well, I can do this forever. I bet you can, but is it good? We'll see what happens, bro. On that note, let me know what you think in the comments. If you feel like this was a great album, let me know. Cuss me out. If you feel like it's whack, tell me what you think. I want to know what you think about this album. But me, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that a pig is anything other than a pig. My name is Chuck Wick Ills, CLBMG.com. If I hurt your feelings, then something wrong with you, because all I said was what I felt. These are opinions, bro. Get your panties out of the bunch. All right? I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.